Right, so get your tickets for this weekend, folks. The time, the place, it's karaoke time. I can only assume it's karaoke where you have to sing through your nose, although singing might just be a little bit exciting for the brylcreemed beige one. Perhaps you have to instead take turns reading out your favourite Starmer speeches to entertain the masses, and by masses I mean just a half dozen hardcore Starmer stans that can afford the price of a ticket. 90% of those speeches will of course be ruled out too, since Starmer has long contradicted them all by now. I'm sure it will be a riveting event. But in all seriousness though, Starmer is heading to Croydon to launch a fundraiser, begging the question, where has all the money from these red Tory donors of yours gone, if you're holding your hand out yet again? Right, so the begging bowl is being passed around by Team Keith again apparently, because the party is allegedly doomed without your donations. They can't survive without your hard-earned cash. They just can't keep up with copying the Tories all the time if you don't pay up. This is all despite the big business corporate types and those billionaires we've all heard about returning to the Labour fold. Now they're all nice and safe and Tory lights again, working for them and not for us. Yet it is us that Starmer's lot think are stupid enough to pay out for them to presumably waste more cash. What are you doing with all this money? And why Croydon anyway? Well, I suppose people from Croydon might argue, well, why not Croydon? But also because I'm minded to remember just how corrupt the Labour Party in Croydon has become there, being the stomping ground of Keir Starmer's sidekick, David Evans, the General Secretary of Labour, not to mention the home of every Labour member's favourite online voting tool, a non-voter, which is delivering the goods for Team Keith, if not for democracy, and is facing investigation for vote fraud as a result of that. An investigation that has now spread from Croydon and is now affecting selections for the Greater London Assembly, since one of the non-voter's owners is standing for Labour at the GLA. You can look at Croydon and figure it, well, this might well be fairly safe ground for Keithites in which case. However, last month it should be noted that a fundraiser, another attempted fundraiser for Starmerite MP Steve Reid, the local MP, held by Croydon Labour again at the Grand Sapphire Hotel off the Purley Way, where 200 people had bought tickets at £45 a pop, had to be abandoned when protesters turned up, protesting the party's stance on Gaza and Israel and their opposition to a ceasefire. Protests notable for coming from the local imams and the Muslim communities there. So it's possibly a braver decision than first glance to return to Croydon once again, to head to Croydon again, though it tells me their options perhaps are very, very limited as to who will host them in London, given their stance on that ceasefire has not just changed, just the venue. According to Eventbrite, it being now Ruskin House on Coombe Road in Croydon this Saturday night. It would be a rotten shame if people turned up and protested again. It'll round off a day of protest for many, as while Labour is planning a donations event for themselves, much of London, being a Saturday, will once more be marching for Palestine. Days of action happening up and down the country as Israel continues to fail to be held to account. So how much is a ticket this time then, Damo? I've given you £45 a pop last time. Well, it's definitely still an event for the few and not the many, as general admission is £22.38 a head, including the admin fee for Eventbrite. But you can get a concession ticket, though gives no idea as to what actually counts as a concession, for £16.36. Of course, socialism is always for the few and not the many in Starmer's Labour as well. It's a swear word unless it is convenient for him. So even if you can't attend, you can still buy a, solidarity ticket, which is literally just a flaming party donation, for heaven's sake, for the same price as the concession. Well, this is all called hell up by those based in Ruskin House, because it isn't just a social club to hold such events as this, but it also contains several offices, not least of which for the Morning Star newspaper, along with several local trade union branches and even a rival political party. The Communist Party of Britain is based there. Historically, it has been a centre of political progressivism, so Starmer taking the party backwards 30 years should mean he catches fire the minute he passes the threshold, or it should. But that talk of possible protest earlier, well, of course there's a protest planned. Why would there not be? Of course there is. It's Keith. It is already being boycotted by many local members and people disgusted by Starmer's anti-ceasefire stance and his advocacy for Israel to be allowed to commit war crimes, which people are not forgetting in a hurry. One boycotter said, "Ordinary people of Croydon are disgusted by Keir Starmer, who believes that Israel has the right to deprive the already impoverished and besieged Gazans of food, fuel and water, and by local MP Steve Reid's refusal to call for a ceasefire and his refusal to listen to the concerns of his constituents on this matter." The event has been called tastelessly named, the entire party revolving around the hopeless leader, even to the point his name has got to be shoehorned into certain events badly. Though given the crassness Croydon Labour are known for, not my words incidentally, but the words of local paper Inside Croydon, they are cautioning people about sharing details of this event on social media. Well, I can't imagine why that would be. Oh well, it's a shame I've done it then, eh? Be an even bigger pity if more people shared that information as well, wouldn't it? Here's a few more comments from disgruntled local activists and pro-Palestine supporters. While Reid, Starmer and the Labour Party leadership drags its feet on properly condemning the barbaric war crimes committed by Israeli armed forces in Gaza, surely Croydon Labour should have its event boycotted, picketed again. WhatsApp messages from Labour Party loyalists have been seen which look forward to partying at Ruskin House on Saturday. Which one of the event's organisers making a joke that they want to be Croydon's answer to Jane McDonald, whoever that is? Ruskin House should cancel the booking or they will be condemned for allowing their venue to be used by an organisation that is giving political support genocide. The communities of Croydon should mobilise to demonstrate their disapproval of this tasteless Keir-aoke event that glorifies a supporter and apologist for genocide. They're right, of course. It is the height of poor taste, while thousands of people will be marching in London once again for the people of Gaza. Starmer and his hangers-on will be strangling a cat, metaphorically speaking, into a microphone. People who oppose everything, much of London and the rest of the country too, will be marching for that day. He wants to represent us without actually giving a damn about what we actually want or care about. Every time he opens his mouth and says he wants to serve us, it is a lie, because he couldn't care less about ordinary lives here. Our lives, our wishes, our wants, our desires, any more than he cares about ordinary lives in Gaza. He can't possibly. You can't switch empathy on and off. You either have it or you don't. And nothing about Keir Starmer tells me he's in possession of it. Thanks for watching. I hope you found this video useful. Please like, share and subscribe if you did. More content out daily. Please do have your say on this story in the comments below and be part of the conversation. Meanwhile, here's a video recommendation where I covered that Croydon vote fraud story. Still an ongoing matter. Telling you all about Croydon Labour, and I'll hopefully catch you on the next vid. Cheers, folks.